joining us this afternoon. My name is Patty Reynolds. I'm a member of the Friends of Island Library, and I'm going to be reading a lot of this because I don't have it all memorized yet, but thank you for being here. The Friends of the Island Library sponsors the Lecture and Travel series, and before I introduce our speaker, I would like to inform you of some things that we have occur here at the library. We're a full-service library with many opportunities from books to tapes, computers, activities, various programs, and much, much more. I invite you to look around the library after the presentation to familiarize yourself. We have a wonderful staff, and they're very helpful. If you're not currently a member of the Friends, please consider joining. It's a $10 membership for a single person, and other categories are listed in the brochure, which is available for you at the back of the room. And we also have a semi-annual newsletter, and as a friend, you would have access to our annual book sale a day before the actual sale to peruse the books. Our annual book sale this year is March 20th through 21st, and it's our major fundraiser of the year. It's held here in this room, and if you are a member, you can look through the books as I shared a moment ago the day before, and we generally, at least this last fall, had the morning time of the first day available for friends to come in and purchase as well. Please be sure your phone is on silent or it's turned off, please. We appreciate your help. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Zoltar Kaparthy. He is the Vice President of the Philanthropy at the Circus Arts Conservatory. I said that, yay! He will be sharing information regarding the recent renovation of the largest state-of-the-art Circus Arts training facility in the entire nation, plus other exciting and interesting facts about the circus, its history, the learning, the training, you name it, he's going to let us know. And take it away.
Thank you, Patty. Let's hope that we're going to have this on speaker. So John, if you'll help me with that. And can everyone hear me? Yes. Or I'll go louder. Well, next, we always start with ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. And if you have your noses on. So, we'll have some over there when you leave. So a circus couple went to the adoption agency wanting to adopt a child. And the adoption representative looked very askance and says, you know, we don't think that much about circus people really adopting because frankly, they don't have many times any roots. Oh, no problem. We have a mansion on Anna Maria Island already set up. Well, that's very nice. But we also understand that you travel a lot, and we want the children that we place to have great education. No problem. We have a PhD nanny who can just teach them anything they need to know of the world. Well, that's certainly very good. Now, the longevity, it's a hit and miss financially. No problem. We have a trust fund already set up for the child. Well, it sounds like you really have this well prepared. So would you like a boy or a girl? Doesn't matter, just so long as he fits in the canon. Thank you for being kind. I'm about to show you a couple of videos and then talk and a few videos if everything works, but the key for circus is really the art of possibilities. The idea that when you went to a circus, you left with wonder and awe. And let's see if we can recreate that in this brief video. Lost our sound.
It's there before.
Well, that's not going to help. Johnny, Think we may have any option here? We had that with we tried another computer earlier. It was working great. I know that song too.
They always bring in the clowns.
Charles, I know you're. There we go.
Wonders how and wonders why. He's both small and tall, fast and slow. Wonders in the crowd and wonders center stage. Wonder has no walls, has no ego or age. Wonders watching and wonders doing. Wonders if high is high enough. If fast is fast enough. Wonder doesn't seek perfection, but always connection.
That video was produced for us by the Smithsonian, where the Circus Arts Conservatory was the first circus school in the nation to be brought on to the mall in Washington, D.C. and invite a circus from every state and put on a 2-week presentation for almost 2 million people. It was the first time circus was recognized as a full art form for this nation. And we were the ones who did it here in Sarasota and Manatee counties. So let me start and move this from here back to our screen. And how old is the modern circus? I mean, circus has been around, as we know, back in the Greek and Roman times, but the modern circus. Over 100 years. Let's go a little higher.
Back in the 19th century, P.T. Barnum.
P.T. Barnum. Let's go a little, one more shot. Over 250 years old. And believe it or not, it was started by an English cavalry officer who decided to have a horse show and then put some entertainment along with the horse riding. And that was in England. And in Philadelphia, in 1793, the first European-style single-ring circus was opened and performed. Everyone knows here, or at least hopefully many of you do, that the greatest show on earth, the Barnum and Bailey show, was the defining show for circus around the world for over 125 years. And particularly, because I don't want this to be history, because we have a lot of things to cover, but just history-wise, Barnum and Bailey Circus literally came to Florida, and it was about almost 80 years ago, and it was the largest attraction in the nation before Disney. The Barnum and Bailey winter quarters was set up first in Sarasota, and as a result, thousands of circus families moved to Sarasota, and their kids, which I'm going to mention in a minute, their kids wanted to have in their instruction a continuation of the tradition of circus, and they started a circus school which became Sailor Circus. Who knows anything about Sailor Circus? All right, I'm going to tell you more about it toward the end. But we basically had the circus moving down here, helping to define the Sarasota Manatee area. And it's still today the circus capital for America, which I'll mention in a few minutes. But one of the most important things that I really want to get across is that the circus is not something that has gone away just because 3 years ago, Ringling, Barnum and Bailey closed its doors. And you may know Ringling's winter quarters first was in Sarasota, then went down to Venice, and then it was sold to Feld Entertainment, and Feld created the circus from moving it from a tent into arenas. And that became a standard of what circus was, moving away from the sideshow and the multiple tent and going into the big spectacular center of an arena, which of course was done business-wise because of the weather, because you could have a longer stay throughout the north and of course still across the country. When the Barnum and Bailey Circus closed, one of the things I and a few of my executives asked, well, where are you going to look for some other jobs? Where are you going to go? Well, it turned out that most people didn't know, and until we went to Smithsonian on the Mall, that there are more than 300 various size circuses in America. Think of it as, we use the example of an oak tree that has huge limbs. And if that oak tree is removed, all of a sudden the sunshine hits on everything underneath it, and the seedlings all of a sudden get a life of their own. And that's basically what is happening to circus today. Circus is alive and well. Circus primarily is done very regionally in smaller communities, and almost 300 of those circuses have schools attached because they're training the next group of circus performers. We at the Circus Arts Conservatory started 23 years ago with 2 circus performers, Pedro Race and Dolly Jacobs Race. And Dolly Jacobs is the daughter of Lou Jacobs, who is probably the most well-known, Ringling clown for about 50 years. She actually had her own aerial act, very beautiful aerial act. Pedro had a daredevil act. They met, and after an unfortunate accident for Pedro, he broke both ankles when one of the lines let go from an act about 40 foot up in the air, no net. However, the love of circus stayed with him, and the two of them decided that here in Sarasota, with Feld taking most of the circus out around the country, Sarasota, known as the home of circus, needed to have a revitalization. And so the Circus Arts Conservatory was born, but with a different intent. Yes, there would be performance, but there would also be entertainment or education. And I'm going to mention some of those parts of education that we do here. It's also going to be training for the next group of individuals who want to be performers, but more training kids to be leaders. And then it's certainly legacy, that something has to continue with the legacy. And for those who have been to the Ringling Museum, we are often mistaken as, oh, you're the Ringling Museum, the Ringling Circus. And the Ringling Circus, if you haven't been there, is a fabulous view of what was the best of the touring Ringling shows, Barnum and Bailey, and the Tibbles home, or the Tibbles, what's it called, center, has like an 8,000 piece recreation of a full circus. So if you want to go and see what it used to look like, that's the place to do it. A mile and a half away, we show the living circus. Let me show you another part of what we do there. That back on. And I mentioned when we started that the circus is really about the art of possibilities. And hopefully, part of what the circus also does is giving an alternative to young people who have a different approach to how they wish to have their life and career and schooling mixed together. Not everyone is ready or fits into baseball or football or tennis or lacrosse. One of the important things about circus is that when you come into a circus arena and you work with a set of performers, you have great diversity. If you have attended circuses, you have probably seen artists who are from Japan, who are from Russia, who are from Lithuania, who are all over. And in our school systems, we very much segregate kids by age, by weight, by abilities. And circus allows any person to find something they can do within the circus realm, whether it's bicycling, juggling, high wire act. And in the process, what we're really teaching is teamwork, hard work, commitment, because you can't achieve without that, risk-taking, but with safety. You teach the basics of balance, of strength, all these things that you can also find in other sports. But in the circus, you do it with an age 8-year-old is working with a 14-year-old. It may be working with a coach who's 27 years old. And it is a very, very cross-generational approach to development. And probably the best example of a successful circus arts student is the one who starts out shy and ends up being the ringmaster, ends up performing in front of 1,000 kids, 1,000 people, audience-wise, who goes on to high school or goes on to college or goes on to trade school with confidence, with a feeling that they have already overcome things they never thought they could do. And that kind of self-confidence came to us in a very strong message. We, as it was introduction, we have a facility called the Sailor Circus Arena. And it is at the corner of Bahia Vista and US 41 in Sarasota, beside Sarasota High School. Has anyone been in there? Okay, we have 1 or 2, 4. I'm going to invite you to do that. And by the way, I'm going to ask Patty at the end, I'm going to have a couple of tickets to give away for shows, so those who hang around, okay? Sailor Circus, going back to it started when Ringling did bring his winter quarters down to Sarasota, and the kids wanted that alternative. And the family said, you know, they already know how to run and jump and do that kind of stuff. We want to keep our acts going. Well, 70 years later, through a series of first a tent that was put on site, later almost like a Quonset hut, only a shell was put up. We just finished a $4.5 million renovation of what now is the largest, almost 30,000 square feet, state-of-the-art training facility for circus arts in the nation. And not only are we proud of that, but that then opens the door for us to truly be the circus center of America. Believe it or not, there are centers, like headquarters, in Canada, in Montreal. Australia has a national circus headquarters, as does Canada, and of course, the governments there fund those programs. Throughout Europe, there are several major organizations of federation, and in fact, let's say the world global headquarters of Circus is in Monaco. So we are very proud that just a month ago, the First Lady of Circus, who is Dolly Jacobs Reese, and I say that because 3 years ago, she was the first circus performer in the nation ever to receive our nation's highest artistic award, the National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship Award. First circus performer ever, and she and her husband were invited, and last month were in Monaco to be on the board of the Federation of the International Circus Federation. And that is a huge honor, and we want to celebrate that, but also to grow with that understanding that we, again, won't be doing the big oak tree Circus Arts through Ringling, but rather we will build our own where we can have international competitions for circus here. We can have international coaches and artists come and develop their acts here. And we certainly can have the kids who are local and in our programs literally interact with the best and brightest. And as an example of that, think of if you have a son or a grandson or a daughter, granddaughter who wants to be a swimmer and comes home and says, guess what? Michael Phelps is my coach. Dolly Jacobs is that in the circus world, and she is teaching here locally, and she is going to be one of our major coaches going forward and bringing that level of coaching to our kids. Let me show you, let me mention before that. So that's all about circus training, and in the end, I'm going to show you another piece of film about an updated version of our Sailor Circus. But we also produce, of course, world-class circus acts, and instead of you traveling to Monaco, you travel over to Benderson Park, right beside the UTC Mall, and if you're traveling there, you currently see a big red and white tent up. And that is our Sailor Circus tent. And now through March 1, we have 10 international stars, 2 or 3 of which have been on America's Got Talent, a couple that have won what they call the Silver and Gold Clown Awards out of Monaco. And I'm going to offer 2 of those tickets at the end of this presentation. But you hopefully have, because this is a little bit of a pitch, you have this small card. It has the dates on it and performances between $15 and $55. It's going to be a 2 to 2.5 hour show that you just won't believe. It will give you that awe that I mentioned. Other, besides the training and the entertainment, is we have professional educators who are also clowns who for the past 6 years have gone into middle schools, 5th grades in Manatee and Sarasota counties, about 35 of them, 37 I think now, where we are teaching basic science. We're teaching Newtonian laws of motion, gravity, mass, inertia, because that's what the circus is all about. Everything you do is physics. And the kids who go through a 9-week program, a curriculum that has been approved by the state of Florida's Department of Education, it's the only one in the nation, those kids are scoring 93 to 96% in their science what they call now Florida assessment tests, compared to about 65 is the average that is being scored. So it's a tremendous boost. And again, it's our way of outreach into the community, and it's our way of giving back, not just through ticket sales, but through the philanthropy that we receive. And I'm going to show you that program now. If we can all do it, and hopefully the sound is still going to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Circus Arts Conservatory proudly presents the marvelous, miraculous circus machine. This bold and engaging project dazzles elementary schools with exciting learning opportunities and lasting memories. The marvelous, miraculous circus machine is inspired by the artful chain reactions of Rube Goldberg, combined with the engineering marvels of the American circus. Our educators visit schools to provide students with curriculum booklets, hands-on project kits, and a fun classroom challenge.
Your job is to get a ball into a container of that. That's going to be the end result. We're going to think about how we're going to get there.
Working in teams to build their own Rube Goldberg machines, students learn through experience about physics and creative problem solving. Cause and effect, force, gravity, friction, inertia, mass, and Newton's laws of motion are explored in a way that makes these abstract concepts memorable. The project satisfies the new Florida standards, preparing students for the required 5th grade state assessments in science.
So your question is, does this domino have enough force to move this?
And is the energy right now potential or kinetic? And how do we know what's kinetic? Let's move it right.
Did it work?
Not the first 5 times.
What I'm scoring on is ingenuity, teamwork, trial and error. I say we have a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Failure is part of learning.
Watching them manipulate things with their hands and work together to make things work out and be successful. And then seeing the expressions on their faces of self-accomplishment.
It also looks easy, but it's really not.
Yeah, but we can all work together and we sure can get it done.
A lot of teamwork. I would never have been able to think of this and do this without my team.
They've been able to explore science, not using books, but using their background knowledge, and they're feeling successful. So the enthusiasm is just amazing to hear.
This project was so fun and we learned so much.
We want to thank the Circus Conservatory for spending the time with our students and really getting them engaged in engineering and their thinking process.
After the science unit is completed in classrooms, schools are treated to a special final event. A stupendous performance of the marvelous, miraculous circus machine. In 2015, more than 1,500 students witnessed a one-of-a-kind chain reaction machine with circus performers as transitions. The Circus Arts Conservatory is committed to delighting, inspiring, and educating students about the importance of science and technology in their world. They experience cooperative problem solving, learning from both success and failure. They apply abstract principles to real-world engineering challenges, and they use the kind of teamwork that will help prepare them for the workplace of the future. And that's the power of the Circus Machine!
We do one other thing. We mentioned the training through our Sailor Circus, entertainment at our Big Top, and we of course entertain at Sailor Circus again with our kids. We teach science in 35 plus middle schools, many of them Title I schools, those who have the most challenges to pass those science tests. And then we do one other thing, to reach out into our community. We have many seniors who can't come to the circus. Many seniors who have both physical disabilities, have developmental disabilities, and some unfortunately who have developed Alzheimer's. And the circus is something that seems to trigger memories and a happiness and an activity. And so we have both professional clowns and some of our circus sailor kids go to about 15, I think so far, care communities, nursing homes, assisted living facilities on a regular basis, generally twice a month, and do interactive work with the clients there, with the patients there, to bring them out of their shell a little bit, to overcome some of the loneliness. Many individuals we have there, their families aren't around. Some don't even have families. We're the continuity to it. And the circus is something that they remember, that the music of it brings back the memories. Many who, very honestly, are drooped over and start like this, end up singing along, laughing at the joke, those kinds of things. And they're momentary points of happiness. We're not curing anybody, but hopefully we're taking the circus back to the community in yet another way, touching a large part of our population. And we have, let me show you. So you have a couple of, we're at the schools, students, okay, we have that. And let's see if I can show you. Well, I'll tell you, just before I show this spring show, let me mention that when you think of the circus, you do think of the clowns. And of course, we no longer have animals. The elephants are gone, the tigers are gone. We still have horses and we still have dogs. And in fact, both of them are in the current show. But what we do have is amazing skills that you will see, particularly with our kids that we help train, and of course the international stars. And from our standpoint, putting together the entertainment and the education is a pretty big deal. And the state of Florida, again, Department of Education, recognized that. And this August, actually, when school was back, so late August, the Sarasota High School partnership with the Circus Arts Conservatory has been designated as the first Circus Arts magnet school in the nation. And what that means is, instead of everything so far being after-school activities, kind of like the intramurals, now we have 2 classes a day, about 20 students who are getting full-time credit for attending Circus Arts programs. And it's a 4-year program that not only covers physical education, but that magnet program is going to be teaching the business of circus, how to be an agent for circus management, how to run a circus in terms of finances, the history of circus, giving credit toward college, advanced placement credit, so that when you go to college, a number of those credits will transfer with you. And we're also working with the area colleges that we will be looking at an undergraduate program that continues the circus tradition along with the business aspect of circus. And again, the first one in the nation. So we're very proud of that. All right, let's show another one here. We have some tickets to give away, but before I do that, I was told 45 minutes, so we're just about there.
Can we ask questions?
I was just about to say, before we do that, are there any questions? And
Yeah.
I give you $10 just because you did a rep. Okay.
Okay, I attended the Circus Sarasota this last weekend, and I'd like to know who decides whether you have to have a mat underneath you or a brace to hold you. Is that the performer's choice or is it the circus's choice?
Absolutely the circus's choice.
Okay.
The circus has the #1 responsibility for safety. And obviously it is a joint decision with the artist to say at what level are you used to operating. But in the end, we have the liability. Certainly for our students, we make 100% of that decision. For the international artists, which ones that you saw over the last week, some of them, frankly, will only perform if you don't have any kind of safety. Many others, you would be surprised, you don't see what safety harnesses exist through their costuming.
Okay, well, follow up on that.
Yes.
A woman on the trapeze who was fantastic had us I guess you call it a safety
A
harness.
safety harness belt.
And she missed the trapeze. She was way up in the air.
40 feet.
Stopped rather suddenly. Was that strap that held her up, was somebody at the side that pulled it tight?
Yes.
To make certain. And if I had fallen that far with something around my chest that caught me, it would really hurt. Was she injured? I mean, she was the show must go on and looked like it was wonderful. But
She was performing the following day. She was performing this morning. Yes, these are all professionals, international stars. The show must go on. Is she bruised? I don't know. She didn't show me.
do
We don't ask.
they teach these kids how to fall like that so that if you're doing that, you can catch yourself somehow?
Absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, for our kids, we generally have 2 guide wires attached to them at all times if they are off the ground. The only ones that don't have it sometimes are our senior students who've been with us more than 4 years, who are doing, for instance, the teeter board where they jump on one and they flip over the other, but we have cushions over there. Safety is absolutely critical, and you can imagine why. Parents wouldn't be bringing the kids if you had a lot of injuries. But one of our star performers, 17-year-old junior, who is, I don't know who knows what a slack wire is. You know the tightrope. You know a solid wire that Willenda walks on. Well, a slack rope is a much thinner metal rope that is between 2 bars, and the balance issue is huge because it moves every direction. And 2 weeks before our winter performance, which was at the end of December when they are out of school, she was babysitting and stepped on a piece of glass and cut her heel. Now she uses her foot and her heel to do that. We totally changed the act around so she would not be working. She was so committed and dedicated that I didn't work this hard not to perform, that she ended up convincing us that she could do it. She had some pain, but she performed 9 shows. And that goes back to the Circus Arts training is a tool for our kids to learn the discipline and the commitment and to get off the screen of your iPhone and work with others who are different than you, and to have leadership to mold that child in a way that creates a lifetime of self-confidence. And I'll close that part with, I mentioned we just had a $4.5 million fundraising campaign to renovate, and we received, and I'm the vice president for philanthropy, she did a great job, received a $10,000 check from, of all places, Dallas, Texas. And it came with a note that says, I was a shy 8-year-old afraid to perform, and I learned to perform at Sailor Circus. I'm a litigation attorney in Dallas performing every day. Thanks for the help. So 1% maybe goes on to doing in circus. 99% become career leaders. Questions?
You left out something that probably you don't have direct to do with, but at your last show, you had a band there. And I don't know how many people were in it. I did count 13 sousaphones or tubas. And they were absolutely terrific. And I always like band music, but I've never heard anything like that.
We have a very unique, thank you. I was going to call on you anyway for something else you told me. But we have a very unique collaboration with Key Corral. And for 10 years now, we have one weekend only in March where 100 voices join together with our Sailor Circus performers and the band to create a whole new choreography of Circus Arts and its voices. And that's what you're referring to. We used to have, in years past, there was actually a circus band, but that is no longer the case, but it's nice.
Well, this was a band. It was from their group of people that go
oh, yes.
all over the country, and they were there at that show.
I think what we also have one night a week, we have the Windjammers, which is our show folks. Yeah, and that is a fundraiser for them. It's not really our lineup of shows, but yes, they do move around. But I am gonna, and it's Charles, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. In line with what I just mentioned about we develop our kids far beyond learning how to walk a wire, catch each other on a trapeze, ride a unicycle. And it happens to be that I didn't even pay him $20, but he came to me standing up, he said, I have a story for you, and I'd like you, if you would, to tell a story about a young man.
Okay.
Why don't you stand up?
All right. This is a young fellow that we've known for a long time. He's a single parent kid. He had troubles. He would ditch school.
Why don't you come up to the front here so
he would ditch school. He would not come home some nights, and his mother was very concerned about it. And I used to teach shop, and so I was teaching him every Saturday, doing woodworking stuff and what electricity is and everything. And I really liked the kid, but there was something wrong somewhere. He wasn't getting what he needed, and his mother was going nuts about it. Well, we got a call a little while before the first performance and said, guess what? He's gonna be in the show. Come on down. And so we did. And here's this kid who had trouble doing anything. He's riding a bicycle. Well, now, any kid can ride a bicycle, right? What's hard about that? So he goes around in a circle, and then there was one girl on the bicycle with him. He went around again, and there were two girls on the bicycle, balancing. And finally he went around, and there were three girls on that bicycle, and he's riding it around in a circle, balancing it. I don't know how he did it, but he did. And of course, when they jumped off, everybody applauded. And then the last show, he had graduated to the unicycle. And he had a little short unicycle, you know, with the seats down here, and you go around. And then he jumped off that, and he went to one that was, the seat was about 5 feet off the ground. Now that takes skill and coordination, but it totally has him involved now in life. We expect to go to the next show, and he's promising he's going to be on the high wire, so we'll see. I just can't say what a great thrill this program has provided to us in watching that kid grow up. It's just been terrific. So.
Thank you, Charles. Yes, sir.
About how many young people apply each year? Out of that, how many do you accept, and what's the criteria used to decide that it's an appropriate program for a young person?
Since we renovated our arena, because for a year they was shut down, through December, we had more than 1,000 kids involved in our program. We have a standing core of about 90 to 100 Sailor Circus full-time training kids. By full-time, 3 or 4 nights every evening of the week, generally from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Okay, think about the commitment, and think about, now how do you juggle your schoolwork? You must maintain a 3.0 average, okay? And we'll take anyone to get started, because we have so many ways, whether you are poor at balancing but great at strength, if you are good at jumping and flipping but not very good at balance, we have something for you. So we'll start generally from age 8, although now with our largest arena available, we're probably going to start at age 4 and get preschool, and also we're opening up to the homeschooled group. Those who know about homeschooling say, you know, they're really looking for activities for their sons and daughters. And so we will have some times when the arena is available during school time that will not be for kids who have to be in school, in formal classes. So we believe we're going to really branch out and really touch this community in a very, very penetrating way. And in terms of criteria, the 3, our coaches say the 3 criteria is, first of all, you show up. Okay, pretty straightforward. Second of all, you work as a team. Even if you're an individual artist, nobody is a self-made person. You have to work either with your coach or, and third of all, you give your best. If you're slouching, there's somebody else over there. So, and those 3 things, is there anything in life that doesn't touch? That's what we're passing on. It just happens to be through the Circus Arts. Yes, sir?
I believe you said 1% of the students go on to become performing artists. Where do they go to find jobs in performing arts?
FSU is a large, they have their own Circus Arts program. We have performers right now in Cirque du Soleil, which you may know. We have, in fact, we are bringing in next month, and this hasn't been announced yet, so you're one of the few who care. We are bringing in Cirque du Soleil's Paris coach as a full-time trainer for our kids. There's going to be a whole different level coming to here because we believe we want to be the center of circus in America. And we are also rebuilding our campus and looking at maybe permanent space at Benderson Park, just like Benderson is proud of having World Rowing over there. We're going to have World Circus over there. Any other questions?
What does it cost?
What our
For the kids to go to that science?
it is $1,000 a semester, so $2,000 for the year, and about 60% of them get some level of scholarshiping through charitable giving. Additionally, not only do you pay to attend, but parents must give at least 50 hours of volunteerism so that they have an active role with their kids in the program. Any other questions? All right, I know we've gone now.
Thank you.
So that this becomes, this giveaway is not what Zoltar does, but we're putting the pressure on Patty. The first 2 hands that go up to answer this question. Because we're not gonna, we don't want to take your business cards or that kind of stuff. This is not done. Okay, so the first 2 you see, it's kind of like Jeopardy, right? None of you need the answer, but you need the buzzer quickly. All right. Where was the first American circus performed? Say it.
Philadelphia.
Yes?
Boston.
Oh.
Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
All right, there's the 2 right there. All right, come see me afterwards, and we'll get tickets to you. Now I have another question. Those 2 tickets are to our current show, and we'll work out the dates that work for you. Okay, and you'll work through me. So I want to give out 2 tickets for our April show for our Sailor Circus. And for our sailor circus, what should we ask them? See if they were listening at all. All right. Yeah, let's do that. When did sailor circus start? Say it.
23 years ago.
Pretty close.
70 years.
70 years ago. And there's a second set of tickets. Who's got the other answer? Huh? So when did sailor circus start?
1949.
Somebody raised their hand. There you go. All right, these two have these two tickets. You got to move for it. Thank you very much for coming. Please take some material with us.
We need a schedule. We have